Welcome to this edition of the 6 p.m. primetime newscast on Equinox Television, broadcasting from Cameroon's economic capital, Douala. I am Bable Jonathan. In our top stories in this edition of the news, poliomyelitis resurfaces again in the far north region of the Republic of Cameroon after the country was declared polio-free in 2015. Public health authorities are intensifying measures with vaccination campaigns in order to contain the polio virus. Also in this newscast, we shall take you to the localities in the northwest regional capital, Bamenda, that were recently affected by a massive destruction, burning down of houses, notably in Mankan in the Bamenda 2 subdivision. And we're going to show you just how those who were affected by this crisis have been living for over 2 weeks now since that incident occurred. And we begin right away in Alachu, Muachu, and Matsem quarters in Mankan, Bamenda 2 subdivision, northwest region of the Republic of Cameroon. These three quarters were recently severely affected by the massive burning down of over 70 houses in that part of the crisis hit northwest region of the Republic of Cameroon, and several persons were badly affected, and they are still suffering the effect of that unfortunate incident that has been occurring and reoccurring in the two Anglophone regions of the country. The burning down of houses have continued for over 3 years down memory lane, and a correspondent in Bamenda went visiting some of the persons who were affected by that unfortunate incident over 2 weeks ago, and she brought back this report.
3 years down the lane, the conflict in the two Anglophone regions of Cameroon has killed thousands and forced hundreds of thousands out of their homes. The war is yet to end, but the humanitarian impact will be felt for many years to come. This is Alachu. It was at this spot locals saw two people lying down after hearing gunshots.
And then when I looked out like that, I saw the corpse of the person was shot lying down in the road, just there on the road there like that. So when I looked again, I saw those who are shot saying that, okay, it's alright, let's go now. When they ran up, so that's when I stopped. And then I started thinking of what I should do.
Mama Regina Lum is physically disabled and moves with the aid of a walking stick. She recounts what she witnessed on May 15, 2019.
I did for us, the other one can't hold my hand. You see, mother can't go outside, therefore they enter for us. Like they be born now. That one will hold my hand, so many is time for outside. Like petrol. We move from water and food. Then could when she's here. And did then they born now. Then move my mattress with a blanket go. Through television, find them, close them, 2 box, the document for picking them. Think them plenty begin.
Most of the affected population these reports are made at Alachu are all people. The boys and girls have fled for safety.
The much problem I'm facing is that of my children, because all my children are scattered just in this town.
These people are traumatized. They who watch their homes reduced to nothing have devised ways of overcoming the shock.
If I decide to think, I forfeit die. I just give my heart for God. I put chorus in my mouth. I sing, only for forget everything. So now I need to even feel it. I need to feel anything again.
In the Bible, we learn that Job suffered. His people were his children and everything, his animals, his thousands of animals in the field were killed. and that, but he accepted it. So in that manner too, I said, okay, if God allowed it to be done, he allowed it for a reason, and so I accepted it, and that's why I still look me healthy.
On May 17, 2019, Northwest Governor Adolphe Lele-Lafrique signed a release creating a 12-month commission with specific tasks of evaluating the humanitarian situation, identification of all victims and their needs, ascertaining material damage and property destroyed, and submitting their report within 1 week. On May 18, 2019, commission members were installed. Over 1 week gone, the people we talked to are yet to be contacted by the evaluation team members.
No one has come to me or called or given me any information.
I can't make photocopy identity. Then we snap inside the burn. We bring them. We go palace that day with the weight governor. As we go palace, we should done there about some, I think like 1 hour. Governor to never come. One only year gone. All man big for today. So no, and for me, never hear me no nothing. I don't know whether something the past or I never hear anything.
An official statement to this regard is still awaited. The situation is further worsening as illiteracy will soon overtake a generation. Children's right to education are being violated as the crisis drags on.
And as the situation in the northwest and southwest regions of the Republic of Cameroon continues deteriorating, the number of persons displaced by the crisis continue increasing. The numbers continued increasing over the years, and now hundreds of thousands of women, men and children have been kicked out of their homes by the ongoing crisis. A good proportion of them are women, including pregnant women and nursing mothers, many of them living in very precarious conditions, very difficult living conditions, many of them now depending on men and women of goodwill for survival while expecting or waiting for aid from the Yaoundé administration within the context of the close to 13 billion francs CFA humanitarian aid plan put in place by the government of the Republic of Cameroon. Stellambo reports that over 150 internally displaced pregnant women recently received aid from one of Cameroon's parliamentarians. Her report.
Statistics reveal that women constitute the most part of Cameroon's population. They have been described as hardest affected by any conflict. The Anglophone crisis in the northwest and southwest regions is not an exception. Whichever party in the conflict is affected, women bear the burden.
Our villages, houses have been burnt, and at any point in time, we find ourselves sleeping in the bushes, and for 2 nights, we slept in our farmland, in a distant place away from our home. Really not good for me, hearing that I was in that bush with my 2 kids, and even my mother was sick. The place that we were living, they come and burn our house. We don't have place to live, making the house and
the situation is further challenging for pregnant women. They often flee without carrying what they had purchased in preparation for their babies.
in as much as we are trying to make efforts to see how you can make ends meet, the conditions around you does not permit you to live the life that suffices to make you and your family to be fine. So it's really horrible.
Senator Regina Mundi is aware of these difficulties. This time, she brought delivery kits to some 150 internally displaced pregnant women.
They have left their homes, and it will be very difficult. That is why I chose to work with the IDPs. You know, we cannot afford to have women dying in childbirth. Neither can we afford to have infants dying because their mothers have died or died during their delivery and so forth. In
2004, maternal mortality ratio stood at 669 maternal deaths per 1,000 live births and 782 maternal deaths per 100,000 live births in 2011. These figures are too high, according to public health officials.
It is worth mentioning that maternal mortality ratio and infant mortality rate in Cameroon are still reported as being very high. We therefore welcome an initiative like this from our dear mother and Senator, Madam Regina Mundi, aimed at ensuring that some of our vulnerable pregnant women benefit from the basic health services which are needed for them to have a safe and quality delivery.
I'm very happy for the things that they give us because it will go a long way to help us to cover some of the costs that we have to spend in the hospital.
These women are going back with vouchers. However, the delivery process will be, a delivery kit or a cesarean kit will be provided for free upon presentation of their tickets.
And Christians have continued praying for God's intervention in the situation in the northwest and southwest regions of the Republic of Cameroon. And during Ascension Day at the Roman Catholic Church Gardens Parish in Limbe, southwest region of the country, the presiding priest called on Christians to stay fast to Jesus Christ as the only one who can bring a change in their lives and Cameroon in general, notably as far as the Anglophone crisis is concerned. And Reverend Didymus Fomi reminded the Christians that Jesus Christ rose for their salvation. He rose to save them from such situations like the deepening Anglophone crisis. Now take a listen to Reverend Didymus Fomi. He spoke to our Limbe-based correspondent Davidson Maimo. Take a listen. Reverend Didymus Fomi, who spoke to our Limbe-based correspondent Davidson Maimo.
And today is Ascension. We celebrate the solemnity of the Ascension. And today as a church, we remember in a very special way the fact that Jesus, after completing his work, his mission on earth, went up to heaven today. And so as a people, as a church, we gathered here as a family to celebrate that fact and also to celebrate our Christian hope in the fact that someday we too will be able to rise as Christ did today. Well, as Christians, we are always encouraged to hope. And sometimes, like Benedict XVI said, hope against hope. And so in every situation that we find ourselves as a country, especially with the realities in our part of the country today, as Christians, we have a moral duty, we have a duty and conscience to pray for our country, but most especially not to lose hope, because for no reason should we give up on God. God is still on his throne and he's watching what is going, and all we can do is pray for the situation and hope that someday things will come back to normal. And so the feast we celebrate today, like when Christ was going on and he saw his disciples saddened because he was leaving them, he told them he shall send the advocate to help them, he shall send the Holy Spirit. And so Christ never abandons his children. That is our faith, that is our hope. And so no matter the situation in which we find ourselves as Christians, we know Christ is there and will always take care of his children. And so that is our hope.
That was Reverend Didymus Fomi, parish priest of the Our Lady, Our Lord Lady, that is Our Lady of Lord Parish Gardens in the Limbe. And some Christians of that parish of the Roman Catholic Church equally spoke to Davidson Maimo. And here is an extract of what they said.
The ascension of our Lord Jesus Christ. It wouldn't have been possible for me to be here if he didn't, first of all, resurrect and then going up to heaven to make our Christianity complete.
The day Christ went up to heaven, it's a wonderful day. That's the day that gives us hope that one day we'll also get to heaven. That's the greatest importance of ascension. That we have hope that we one day get there too. That's the day of hope as far as I'm concerned as a Christian.
Since Jesus ascended into heaven on this day, what is important to me as a Christian is that I have that hope that one day I too will go up to heaven.
It marks the day when Christ himself goes giving us the belief and the hope that tomorrow one day we will rise with him and meet him in heaven.
The meaning of the day is the day that Jesus went up to heaven to meet his Father, and it is very important for all of us. We have to adore this day, we have to respect this day and pray together
And administrative authorities have continued calling for back to school as the 2018-2019 academic year draws to an end, and of course the 2019-2020 academic year draws near. And of course, one of the administrative authorities who have been urging parents as well as school or academic stakeholders to ensure that the 2019-2020 academic year takes off on a new foot, so to speak, is Absalom Monono. He is the Senior Divisional Officer of Momo Division in the Northwest region of the country. Take a listen.
Cameroonians are free to live anywhere that they are, and we are happy that many Cameroonians are living here in Douala in peace and security and going to school normally. We also have back home some schools which are operating, and our major call as authorities is to see that come next year, all the schools that government has created, that the private individuals have created, people in the education business have created, should go on effectively come 2019-2020 academic year. That is a call of a parent, that is a call of an administrator that I am, and we hope that all the stakeholders will put their hands on deck so that we will continue this business of educating the future leaders of this great country of Cameroon.
Absalom Monono, Senior Division Officer of the Momo Division in the Northwest region of the country, spoke to Equinox Television on the sidelines of the graduation of the nursery section of Gateway Bilingual Nursery and Primary School in Bonaberi, Douala for a subdivision, and some nursery and primary school pupils in Lum in the Mongo Division of the Littoral region of the country, notably those displaced by the Anglophone crisis, those coming from the Anglophone regions of the country, have exhorted Cameroonian authorities to emulate them by giving a red carpet or red card to the armed conflict in the northwest and southwest regions of the country before going on vacation. They also reminded government that they are leaders of tomorrow, and so they should be protected. Innocent.
There is no doubt the third-term holiday has begun. Before going on vacation, some nursery and primary school pupils in Lum, Mongo Division of the Littoral region, most of whom are internally displaced, during their graduation ceremony, echoes to Cameroonian authorities to kindly reinstate peace in the northwest and southwest regions.
I really wish this war can stop so we can go back to Kumba, the place where I was born. I really miss Kumba. We're begging, we are suffering, and before we are suffering here. There are four of us, it's only one room. But when we were in Kumba, we had a very big etage. But now we're coming and we're suffering. Please, we're begging the head of state to solve this problem. This Anglophone are suffering.
Another kid denounces sexual assaults and other abuses committed in the restive Anglophone regions by raising a red card to the armed conflict.
What is happening in our country, Cameroon, most especially about this crisis we are having right now, notwithstanding our borders has become farmer, notwithstanding our borders has become farmer, and some active, why our sister are getting pregnant every day, where are we heading to? What will be our future? Oh God, we need your divine intervention with the kids of Mary too. So I say, red card for war in Cameroon.
For now, these kids say living in the northwest and southwest regions is practically complicated.
It was so difficult then for Kenya. It wasn't easy, serious gunshot. Sometimes when you want to go out, you can't even go in the road, they get you well beaten and they send you back in their house. So before we could even come here, it was so hard. And when we even reach here, the place is not really good because the climate is too hot.
Parents of these kids also wish the armed conflict ends.
We are sleeping in the house, about 10 of us. The room is too small for us. We are only begging. We are not happy to live here. It's not easy to live home. Yeah, we buy everything. We buy water, we buy food. We don't even have the money. We don't even eat 3 times a day as we eat in our place. I cannot live well. My children are not eating well. We don't fit well. That is very difficult. We are not living here. We don't have money. We buy everything. We don't know how to end up things. So I would really like to go back. So we are begging the government to say something.
Even the school has equally been affected.
The school year don't be very difficult for we, because
school authorities complain that their source of income with the school fees has been crippled
because a bit displaced.
Pupils are administered without fees as parents complain of inability to raise money from their cocoa and plantation farms, including other activities in the war zones.
It will be very difficult for we to pay teachers.
As such, teachers in the school are not paid.
We pray say may the war come to an end as soon as possible so that we fit go back to our normal activities.
The Anglophone crisis is close to 3 years old today. Thousands have evacuated their localities and homes for bushes, the French-speaking regions, and Nigeria for safety, but under deplorable living conditions. National and international pressure continues to mount on government authorities to open doors for an all-inclusive dialogue for peace, unity, and stability to return in Cameroon.
Recently appointed officials of the National Gendarmerie in the littoral region of Cameroon have been instructed to guard against separatist activities spilling over from the southwest into parts of the littoral region of the country. And the 8 commanding officers of the littoral Gendarmerie Legion have been urged to put in place an an operational intelligence network to fight against insecurity. They were commissioned into their functions today. For me, Armstrong Sander has more.
Apart from the armed conflict in the northwest, southwest and far north regions of Cameroon, the country is also battling with highway robbery, other forms of robbery, banditry and insecurity of persons and goods. The need to combat these ills and ensure maximum security of Cameroonians and their properties was the key message dished out to the newly appointed officials of the Littoral Gendarmerie Legion in Douala, Friday, May the 31st, 2019. In an installation ceremony chaired by the Senior Divisional Officer for Vori and coordinated by the commanding officer of the Littoral Gendarmerie Legion, the newly appointed officials were tasked to put in place an operational intelligence network to fight insecurity and master their work environment so as to better serve the Cameroonian people. The newly appointed officials include the commanding officer of the Douala Territorial Gendarmerie Group, the commanding officer of the Mobile Squadron Group 2, the commanding officer of the Douala Port Gendarmerie Company, the commanding officer of the Douala International Airport Company, the Douala 1 and 2 Gendarmerie Company commanding officers, and the commanding officers of the 21st and 24th Mobile Squadrons. They were all urged to ensure discipline among soldiers for an effective implementation of the operational intelligence network.
After Cameroon was declared polio-free in 2015, the polio virus has resurfaced in the northern part of the country. A case has been detected in the far north region of the country, and the Minister of Public Health and other public health authorities are now taking measures to stop the spread of the polio virus within the national territory and beyond the borders of Cameroon. Immaculate Fogwe reports.
The Ministry of Public Health, in a latest communique dated May 29, 2019, says a case of the type 2 polio virus has been detected in an environmental sample in Mada in the far north region of Cameroon. According to the ministry, the situation constitutes a public health emergency of international concern and a high risk of spreading the virus, which could jeopardize the progress already made in the polio eradication process. The Minister of Public Health, Manauda Malashi, states that the government, through the Ministry of Public Health, has already taken the necessary measures such as undertaking an in-depth investigation. To the minister, these measures aims at stopping the transmission of the virus within 90 days throughout the national territory. Manauda Malashi urges the population to support actions of the government and its development partners and equally invites them to participate fully to the different vaccination activities that will follow as response. Nevertheless, the minister recommends a strict respect of basic hygiene rules, especially washing hands with soap and water before and after meals and after using latrines, and equally the respect of vaccination schedule of children in health facilities.
Out of Cameroon, the mortal remains of opposition leader Etienne Tshisekedi has finally arrived the Democratic Republic of Congo after over 2 years of an intense debate over the matter. And the former opposition party leader who died in Belgium was brought back into the country yesterday. His mortal remains will be laid to rest tomorrow. We have details with Manjik and Gabriel.
There were many supporters of the UDPS party that thinned out in their numbers in the early hours of Thursday to wait for the remains of their late president, Etienne Tshisekedi, an image that the former president of the Democratic Republic of Congo, Kabila, never wanted to see. Finally, it was in the evening that the casket of Etienne Tshisekedi landed at the Njili airport of Kinshasa. On hand to receive the casket was current president and son Felix Tshisekedi. The repatriation and organization of a funeral for the late UDPS president has been a heated debate for 2 years running, as former president Kabila still saw the late Etienne Tshisekedi as a thorn in his flesh. It needed that Felix Tshisekedi becomes the president of DR Congo before his father's body could finally be brought home. After the arrival of the remains of Etienne Tshisekedi, a long procession took place in the streets of DR Congo with a stopover at the party's headquarters. Etienne Tshisekedi's body will be kept at the Matea Stadium, where sympathizers will pay him tribute. Amongst them, President Alpha Conde of Guinea, Congo's Denis Sassou Nguesso, and Togo's Faye Gnassingbe.
Okay, Mr.
And this is where we draw the curtain on this edition of the news on Equinox Television. Thanks, dear viewers, for staying with us. Goodbye.